So, yeah, test tomorrow. And with this being the last big grade, this is pretty much going to finalize what the marking period grades in. For some people that are opting out of the exam, kind of finalize the semester. Huh? I don't know. I could.
He's like, oh, you look like a good kid.
All right, so let's do this. Everybody take a look at the homework that we assigned on Friday, 574, 575, all that stuff. 574.
What? I'm going to start crying. It wasn't my fault.
I didn't say it was.
My dad was like, when he was packing the car, he was like, have you had school today? And I was like,
Huh?
yeah. And he was like, oh, maybe you stay at school. And I probably had
All right, test tomorrow. Your homework from Friday, again, was not to do all 123 problems off of this assignment. Any 30, right? And again, guys, when you guys do get these pick 30 type assignments where you can choose any 30 problems you want to do, which ones should you really focus on doing? Probably the ones you struggle the most on. Based on your last quiz scores, Abby, based on your last quiz scores, I would think the majority of these 30 problems should probably come from number 91 through 123, like the last two sections, because those were the ones that were on the last two sections. So, the things that will be on the test tomorrow.
Oh, I got a question.
Okay?
The test. How many did I get wrong? Remember?
I don't remember. I'll have to look. All right, so the things that you have to know how to do. Prime factorization. GCF. And then factoring by GCF. Factoring by grouping. Factoring the easy type, right? And what else? Fun type. And then we had two shortcuts. What were the two shortcuts? Difference of squares. And then the perfect square trinomial. And then the only other thing that will be on the test are the types of problems that you have to do like multiple steps, where you have to maybe pull out a GCF, take that out, and then factor like an easy type, something like those. That's the whole chapter in a nutshell. So, out of all of that stuff, prime factorization, GCF, the different types of factoring, anything on the review already jump up and get you? Or you'd like me to do any problems out of that 574, 570? What do you got? 109. Okay? So 109 basically says, tell whether each polynomial is completely factored, if not factor it. So first they gave you 4x squared plus 10x plus 6, and they tell us it factors into 4x plus 6 and x plus 1. Well, first off, what method do they use to get from here to here? Isn't that a fun type problem? Okay. Well, just to double check, yeah, if I foiled that together, 4x squared, outsides would be 4x, insides would be 6x, that adds to 10x. So they did factor that correctly. Is that done? Is this problem done? Or could they have done something else? Does 4x plus 6 have something in common? Couldn't you divide that by 2? What's the first thing you should always look to do? What's the first type of factoring you should always look to do? Pull out a GCF, right? So, no, this is not done. They could have pulled a 2 out, which would have been 2x plus 3. This is what the answer actually should be. And I would actually argue that the person that did this, they made their life a little bit harder by not factoring it, pulling out the 2 first. Remember, the idea with always pulling out the GCF first is when you divide by 2, when you pull that 2 out, what happens to all of those numbers? They get smaller. Well, doesn't smaller numbers typically make the problem easier? So they did the fun type and then they wanted to pull the GCF out. If you switch those 2 methods, I think the problem gets a little bit easier for you. What else you got? And yes, there could easily be a question like this on the test tomorrow. And it could easily just be, is this factored completely or not? Typically speaking, if it's already factored like this, just look for a GCF. Is there one of the 2 terms that you could pull a 2 out? Which other ones you got? 100? Okay. So, they said 3y squared plus 75 factors into 3 and then y squared plus 25. Is that done? Well, they pulled the 3 out, which is correct. Can I factor y squared plus 25? That looks like a difference of 2 squares a little bit, doesn't it? Is this a difference of 2 squares? What's wrong with this? If that was a minus, you could. If this problem originally was 3y squared minus 75, and then you pulled the 3 out and got y squared minus 25, wow! This you could factor. Because that would be a difference of 2 squares, which would be y plus 5, y minus 5. But this problem, because that's plus, yeah, you're actually done. There's nothing you can do with that. If it was minus, you could. But what's the shortcut for the perfect square trinomial? Like if I gave you 4x squared plus bx plus 16, and I said for this to be a perfect square trinomial, what does that b have to be? How do we do that? What's the square root of 4x squared? 2x. And then what's the square root of 16? And then I multiply those together, and I always multiply it by 2. So 16x. So that number right there would have to be a 16. And if it was a 16, if you had 4x squared plus 16x plus 16, what would that actually factor into? Well, square root was 2x. Square root was 4. Signs are the same, both positive. You're done. Actually, this one you could have pulled a 4 out, couldn't you? So it probably would have been better to do it that way. For which ones? Well, 49 through 68, those are all the easy types. So there's no shortcuts with those. For 49 through 68, for 49, you're saying what 2 numbers multiply to 5 and add up to 6. 5 and 1. My signs are the same, both positive. So there's no shortcut with those. You're just, like number 65 says x squared minus 6x minus, what was it, 72? So you're looking for two numbers that multiply to 72 and subtract to 6. Well, what are all the different numbers that multiply to 72? 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 goes in there, 6 and 12 goes in there. Ooh, 6 and 12 subtract to 6, don't they? So 6 and 12. This means my signs have to be different. Bigger ones, negative. Remember those? Are we good with these? How about the fun type ones? How about ones like numbers 70 through 89? You don't like my name fun type?
No,
Why?
it's not fun.
What do you want to name them? What do you want to name them? You can rename these.
Torture.
Come up with a different name.
Homicide. Yeah.
Homicidal type of factoring?
Oh, here's my homicide.
So how do you do these? Can I divide anything out of there? No. So, what are all the different ways to get to a 9? 9 and 1, 3 and 3, 2? No. And I'd probably put 1 and 9 as well. And then how do you get to an 8? 8 and 1, 2 and 4? Is that it? And then we check outsides together and insides together. And this time we're looking to add up to 18. Outsides are 9, insides are 8. Nope, that's 17. What is going on? Okay. Outsides 36 and 2. Nope, that doesn't work. Outsides 3, insides 24. Nope. Stop doing that. Okay, computer. Outsides 172, so it's not going to be the 8 and the 1. Outsides 36 and 2, 12 and 6. Ooh, that works. So there's your magic combo. So what does that mean about your answer? What goes here? 3x, 3x, 2 and 4. My signs are the same, both positive, and there's your answer. Keep in mind on the test, if it's multiple choice, it could be written like this, or it could be written 3x plus 4, 3x plus 2. These two things are the same thing. Are there questions on this? All right. Guys, I can't stress the importance enough of this test for tomorrow. I really can't. Like, this is really, 25-ish. Pick 30.
Out of like
123. Pick 30. If it were me, most of my 30 would come from 91 through 123. Most of my 30 would come from there. And then I'd pick a few out of the other ones just to make sure I'm good. And then that's it. But the test tomorrow really is going to finalize the grades for the most part. So if you like your current grade and you want to keep it, make sure you do well tomorrow. If you don't like your grade and you need to raise your grade, tomorrow is basically your last opportunity. So we really need a good class average on this test. So please take this seriously. Please study for this. Make sure you are prepared. Okay?